Moped-style e-bikes are quickly becoming the choice EV for people with a sense of style and 12 to 3,400 bucks sitting around.
However, there are hundreds of moped-style e-bikes out there, and it's easy to get caught up in a whirlwind of specs, features, and different reviews. Now, obviously, it would be impossible to review every single moped-style e-bike, but we wanted to share the ones that we've reviewed this year that are actually good and we actually think are worth your money.
Number one is the Ride One Up Rev 1. Now, this is one of my favorite bikes I've tested this year. I still keep this thing around. I ride it all the time. It is a beautifully smooth, very comfortable bike, but it's also got tons of power as well, giving you a top speed of 35 miles an hour, all for the price of $22.45.
My favorite part of the Rev 1 is just the build quality, and especially at the price, it's hard to find anything that's built this well and feels as solid and stable. Ride One Up does an amazing job of giving you bang for your buck, giving you value for every dollar that you're spending, and the Rev 1 really epitomizes that.
Some of the features with the Rev 1 include full suspension. Now, it's not exactly off-road suspension, but it is very good and cushy on the road. You also get 5 riding modes, including an off-road mode. Now, you do have to buy one and ask Rev 1 to give you the codes on how to get into off-road mode, but that is the level that I constantly find myself riding in, because you unlock the bike's full power, get you to that 35 mile an hour top speed, and if you hold down the minus button on the control module, you unlock boost mode. So there's even more power, more fun to be had.
Now, this is one of the most solid e-bikes I've ever ridden. It's just so confidence inspiring when you jump on it and you just feel, you know, the plushness of the suspension and the solid build, and it feels agile, but it also has a weight to it that makes it feel really solid, that really inspires confidence right away. I think you're gonna jump on this thing and be impressed with how quickly it accelerates and how fast it really is. The suspension is just tuned so well for street riding. It's just the right amount of plush without being overly stiff or overly squishy.
Overall, the Rev 1 full suspension is a near perfect all-round e-moped. I've got almost nothing bad to say about the thing, so if you're just looking for a good e-moped, pick this up. Number 3 is the POWERGOAT V2. Now, what's awesome about this bike is not only is it pretty affordable, costs around $2,600, it's also very powerful. If you look back here, there is a huge hub motor that puts out a peak power of around 3,000 watts, which is one of the most powerful bikes in this price range. You also get a nice big battery up there. That means that the range is pretty good. It accommodates the power quite well. But my favorite part about the POWERGOAT V2 is this massive seat. It is perfect for a passenger. It even came with pegs, so if you have a girlfriend or maybe even a business date, right? Take someone out on this thing, cruise around, and have a damn good time. The POWERGOAT V2 also features full suspension. Now, I'll be honest, this is one of the bike's weaker points. I found the suspension to be very firm, very jittery, and not that great to ride off-road. Luckily, you can replace the shocks back here for something better if you wanted that Cadillac smooth ride.
Now, the thing that this bike does better than any of the bikes on this list is power and speed. And if you're someone that is craving the absolute maximum power you can get at the price, then this is gonna be a great choice. Ride comfort-wise, it's got a pretty solid planted feel on the ground. However, the suspension is quite stiff. However, for on-road riding, it should be totally fine. You don't need something that's super, super plush for riding on trails like this. I like how wide the handlebars are. Feel like I have a decent amount of control. As Hammy mentioned, you can fit multiple riders on here, or you can use this extra space to your advantage to create a really comfortable, natural riding position for yourself. Now, this has the 3 riding modes. Generally, if you're just riding around and you don't need the absolute maximum power, Mode 2 is still plenty fast and a comfortable way to cruise around, but you have your 3rd mode, which offers a ton of power, a ton of acceleration. It also has 7-speed Shimano drivetrain. Here's a little pedaling for reference. It takes a few rotations for that pedal assist to kick in. I think you'll find yourself using the throttle the most. However, that's kind of par for the course on moped-style bikes like this.
Overall, the POWERGOAT V2 is a very feature-packed bike for the price, and it's got all the power that you'll need to terrify your girlfriend when you're taking her out for a Sunday ride. Number 3 is the Rev 1 DRT. Now, if your idea of a solid breakfast is Red Bull and a pouch of Zin, this is going to be the bike for you. What's awesome about the Rev 1 DRT is that for the price, you're getting really good, actually good off-road suspension on an eMoped. So many eMopeds in this class just have firm, awful suspension. Sometimes it's like it's not even there. This bike is the opposite. I've personally ridden this thing down downhill mountain bike trails and it handled it excellently. The suspension is not just the winning part either. The riding position as well invokes a ton of confidence and trust with the bike when you're riding off-road, which is so important when you're on those loose surfaces.
A little while ago, we did a video comparing this bike to a Super 73 of the exact same price. And this thing quite literally embarrassed it in every single category. Speed, suspension, overall feel, build, performance on the dirt trails we tried. Everything was better on this bike, and the bang for the buck, once again, Ride One Up has delivered an amazing value for your dollar. Now, similar to the regular Rev 1, this has such a solid, stable feel, but it's got that added benefit of the super plush off-road suspension. And we did, a deep dive comparison with this bike where we did some serious off-roading, and this thing just ate it up. Like Hammy said, it can totally handle even like mountain bike level trails with no problems, and it has plenty of power, especially for road riding, and even on some of the steeper hills it was able to handle those. For the money, it is hard to find something that has this good a suspension and is built this well. This one is it feels a little bit more practical to actually pedal if you want to. The response time is really good, and the seat is a little bit higher, so you don't feel as cramped while you're actually physically pedaling. Both this one and the regular Rev 1 have some of the most natural riding positions of all the e-bikes that we've tested this year.
Overall, the DRT is a great bike all around, whether you're riding on the road or whether you're riding off-road. It's a solid bike. However, in my personal opinion, if you're going to be doing more on-road riding, I would still go with the standard full suspension because these knobby tires are quite noisy. Number 4 is the YADEA Trooper 01.
The YADEA Trooper 01 is not the fastest bike on this list, and it doesn't have the best suspension of the bikes on this list, but for less than $2,000, it is one of the cheapest ways to get a full suspension moped style e-bike.
The YADEA is a pretty well-built bike. It's nice and solid on the road. You get a 750 watt hub motor back there, which means you have just enough power to get you going pretty much everywhere you want to go.
It's got a simple single-speed drivetrain, which I like because you're not really going to be pedaling this bike a lot because of how close the pedals are to the seat. So you are going to be primarily using the throttle, so I don't mind having a nice simple drivetrain. So as you can see, my knees are pretty high up here, so this is the bike that probably has the smallest amount of distance between the seat and the pedals. So that is something to consider if you're wanting to pedal your bike at all. It's just kind of awkward to pedal it. But other than that, this has, a nice solid feel. The suspension is pretty stiff, doesn't have a ton of travel, but it is a good starting point, and it's quite hard to find a full suspension bike under 2,000. Speed-wise, it's quick. It goes from 0 up to 15 miles an hour quite fast. The issue is that it only has a top speed of 20 miles an hour, but again, that is something that can be modified, that can be changed if you're just wanting to get a platform to build off of. Stability-wise, it is a super solid bike. I think that's probably its best characteristic besides the price, is just how solidly built it feels. I do also like that just underneath you, this is probably the bike of all the ones on this list that feels the most agile and nimble and light. It's a very simple bike, without the drivetrain and without a lot of the other extra things that other bikes have. You've got a lot less weight and a lot more control over the bike itself. So there are our top picks for moped style e-bikes this year. As mentioned, we would love to test many more of these so that our 2025 list is as comprehensive as possible. So leave comments down below about which bikes you'd like to see us review. Links to all the e-bikes mentioned will be down below in the description. If you like this one, then be sure to go check out our top folding e-bikes video in the end card. Thanks for watching and stay frosty.